to read the notes about Anessa's accomplishments. She's one of the most accomplished and well-rounded students to which Rocky Hill School has ever borne witness. On an international level, she has performed and studied piano with some of the world's most notable musicians. On the more local level, she was a selected participant in the New England Conservatory Preparatory School and played both clarinet and piano in Rocky Hill School's bands. So she is an international competitor as a pianist, traveling Europe in competitions, and she also took the time to play in our own little Rocky Hill School band. As an academician, she has earned monumental recognition, including induction into the National Latin Honor Society for 4 years, earning the Harvard Book Prize, the Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute Medal for Outstanding Achievement in Mathematics, the Latin Scholar Award, and the Pell Medal for Excellence in U.S. History. As an athlete, she was the captain of the varsity tennis team since the time she was a 9th grader, and she finished her tennis career as the most highly decorated player in school history, having played every single match of all of her 4 years in high school as the #1 seed. She was on the editorial board of both The Tide and The Hill, and she still managed time to found and maintain her own culinary website entitled Food Finessa. And after reading the article she wrote on the cover of the living section of the Projo last week, I'm going to eat a lot of rhubarb this summer. She graduates from Rocky Hill School summa cum laude with one of the highest GPAs in the history of our school. Please welcome to the stage, no stranger to the stage today, Anessa Petteruti.
Good job, Mom.
Good morning. Dr. Tracy, Mrs. Tracy, Madam Secretary Gorbea, members of the board, faculty and administration, parents, my loving, supportive family, and last but certainly not least, the class of 2017. First, I would like to thank Dr. Tracy, Mr. DeWardner, and members of the maintenance team for allowing us to have commencement outside today. It turned out to be really nice, and we all really appreciate it. To be perfectly honest, I wrote this speech with 2 goals in mind: to address my graduating class today, and to let you all know that after over a year of having my driver's license, I actually drove here by myself for the first time today. The truth is, we made it. No more school-wide Nautilus meetings before the morning bagel run. No more having Mrs. Goulden cover for us when we're late to first period. And no more watching Mr. Nolfo descend by rope from the 2nd floor of Glen. Instead, we now look forward to late-night food cravings, no penalty for being late to class, and really no mornings at all. But seriously, we've come a very long way. We've explored the complex developments of the Aztecs and Chinese dynasties in Mr. Lee's world history class, analyzed distinctive stylistic techniques in various literary periods in Miss Naiman's English Independent Studies. We've examined the effects of various stimuli on the growth of Brassica rapa seedlings in Miss Matson's greenhouse project. Learned from Miss Fahey how to accurately model real-life phenomena with statistical tools like hypothesis testing. And most recently, pitched ideas to improve the health of the local environment in this year's senior seminar. There's no doubt that in my mind, we are ready for the academic challenges of college. Keyword academic. Personally, I've learned so much about myself throughout these last few years. Admittedly, oftentimes grinding away at the piano at the expense of my family's sleep schedule, or trying to win just a few more points off my brother on the tennis court. A few years back, while listening to me perform a sloppy version of Liszt's Un Sospiro etude, my New England Conservatory teacher, Clara Slater, snapped at me to say this: "You have awkward hands." Wrong note, do you need glasses? Eyes keenly on my hands and ears peeled to the sounds I was making with every musical phrase, She'd stop me to critique and correct my mistakes whenever she would see fit. And at the end of the song, move on to the next piece with no acknowledgement or final evaluation of my performance, oftentimes to my frustration. At the same time, though, her silence taught me a valuable lesson in what it means to work hard. Work hard does not always mean that you're rewarded with a shiny reward or recognition, a high five, a hug, or even a quick set of likes on Instagram. Minutes before my own concerts, my nerves push me to reflect on the hours of painstaking hard work and unrewarded practice, and that's when I know it's all worth it. A typical video that I post on my YouTube channel, Food Vanessa, enjoys much fewer views than a video on Mr. Nolfo's RHS Latin channel featuring his pet owl, Bubo. Yet, despite my apparent inability to garner as much popularity as real art, I'm so grateful to have found activities that I love and give me a sense of higher purpose that a trophy or acceptance to a prestigious university simply cannot. I think this sentiment extends to all of us here today. Sadie Reimer discovered her love for contemporary ballet at age 3 and has practiced and performed to become the accomplished dancer she is today. Jamie Frost's lacrosse skills and passion for the sport have made him the best player in the league. One of several international students who have all surely raised the bar of excellence in our school, Yufan Evan Zhang put his STEM prowess to use in his leadership and dominance on the math team. Although recognition of our talents and activities is nice, each of us does what we do because we simply love to do it. Ensuring that our love for what we do is independent of outside recognition is what it really means to take ownership and have pride. As our college years approach and the allure of social media colors who we are, we should promise ourselves to never forget to have ownership and pride in our careers, relationships, and opinions. Not everything will be met with an applause, but that becomes secondary if we own who we are and work hard to better ourselves. We, and those who really care for us, will feel something much more valuable. And I'm positive the payoff in the long run will be worth it. But now that I'm up here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. In a time when today's social and political climates are as turbulent as ever, with opinions that clash during TV debates and Twitter battles, I believe ownership of one's work and ideas without recognition and reward is especially important. When we take ownership of and have pride in our work and opinions, we become more willing to converse with those different than us. My recent article, published in The Tide, Are college campuses really bastions of free speech, examined a growing tendency of college campuses to redefine free speech, like censoring guests with unpopular stances, and the creation of safe spaces intended to safeguard identities from harmful speech. Among the article's topics were the effects of student-run protests, which will probably be a part of some of our future college experiences. It's one of the most valuable rights we have as citizens of this great country to express our opinions in public. But we begin to lose strength in our beliefs when we use our positions to silence others rather than learn from them. If we remain willing to discuss the other side of an argument without expecting to win or dominate the discussion, we can begin to feel both ownership of our positions as well as empathy for the other, while at the same time bettering ourselves. Perhaps that is the true meaning of Rocky Hill's motto, know thyself. But I would be remiss if I ended an address like this without mentioning and thanking teachers who have made huge impacts on my experience for my past 12 years here. Rocky Hill's impact did not start in the upper school. Back in the fall of 2005, when I walked into the Perkins first grade classroom, I was welcomed by a cute pet box tortoise and the warm smile of Mrs. Ponarelli. I attribute my deep love of learning to her advanced math and reading lessons and confidence in our abilities as young students. Thank you, Mrs. Ponarelli. Honestly, I was a little intimidated by Ms. Conroy as an entering middle schooler. I remember first walking into her classroom in Hale, decorated generously with Cleveland Cavaliers banners and math posters, and completing a problem on one of her notorious algebra tests that involved my very first experience to systems of equations. But it was not only in the classroom that Ms. Conroy cultivated in me the drive and determination required to succeed. In 6th grade, solely for the purpose of following my sister's footsteps, I reluctantly signed up for the basketball team. After yelling "box out" probably no less than 50 times per game, and probably regretting her decision to assign this quiet girl the position of point guard, Miss Conroy equipped us with the confidence and strategic appetite to win. It's partly because of you I can look at my male opponents on the other side of the tennis court and know I have what it takes to come out on top. Thank you, Miss Conroy. I knew Mr. Nolfo well before my time in the upper school, but little did I know my Latin career would be made that much richer, where inside the classroom he brought the dead language to life. If you expected to sit through a boring lecture for a straight 50 minutes, you would be pleasantly surprised, maybe by a guitar performance with accompanying vocals on the endings of all 5 declensions, or a 5-foot wooden spear used as his pointer. One of my favorite memories of high school was creating a horror film scripted entirely in Latin. I'll miss one of the most out-of-the-box, or should I say out-of-the-cafeteria, friends and advisors I've ever known, and having lunch on the top of Hopelands. Yes, right up there. Thank you, Mr. Nolfo, for turning learning into either a Kurtaman match or a lunch trip 40 feet closer to the gods. I would need much longer than the time I'm given to thank every one of our teachers and how much each has impacted us through our time here. My biggest thank you, however, is to my graduating class for inspiring me to improve and work hard every day. While we forge our own path with skills we now have as Rocky Hill alumni, let's always strive to persevere to be the best we can be in the pursuit of our goals, whatever they may be, while taking ownership and pride without regard to short-term awards and recognition. In the long run, it will all be worth it. Congratulations, class of 2017. We did it.